convene the meeting of the mortgage committee. And for my purposes, I think you can all see who's there, but I cannot. If I could just have the members of the mortgage committee who are present just say their names. So I heard Sayla. I don't know who else is there.
You want me to go down the list?
Sure.
Yeah, go down the list, please. Wendy Clark.
Here.
Wendy is a member of the mortgage committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome, Wendy.
Oh, welcome, Wendy.
Thank you.
Anita Winger.
Here.
As always.
Yep.
Kylie Goslin. Peter.
Hi, you need to dial in. Well, keep going.
Ella Bruno Mascaro.
Sayla's there.
Yep, I'm here.
Lisa Pepperbase.
Here.
Carla Weil.
Here.
And that's it. Okay, so I think I did convene the meeting of the mortgage committee, and so Wendy, I would like to welcome you. I missed last month's meeting, so perhaps you were there at that meeting, but maybe for my benefit anyway, and maybe for the others' benefit, if you could just say a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get going.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I worked on the larger meeting, the monthly meeting last month, but not the committee meeting. I currently practice as a corporate attorney with a focus on mergers and acquisitions and securities law at Kelly Dry in the Stanford office. Prior to becoming a corporate lawyer, I worked in government for 10 years, focusing on community development issues, including affordable housing for the city of New Haven. That's in sum. It's been 20-year look back of my life. Let me know if you'd like to know anything else.
No, that's terrific. Thank you so much. And who were you appointed to the board by?
Adilani.
Oh, great. Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome. Welcome to the mortgage committee. We're glad you're here. And so I think we have, do we have until 9:30? Is that correct?
We have until 10 o'clock, so we're good to go.
Okay.
Yes, we have 50 minutes of concentrated activity.
So, yes, and I see that the agenda is only 11 minutes, so I'll talk slowly and do everything very thoroughly. So the first action item is Maplewood Court in Bridgeport, and Debbie is going to walk through the documents with us. Debbie, are you here?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Good morning. I'm Debbie Alter. I'm the manager in the Multifamily Department. I'm here to talk about Maplewood Court. This property is already in CHFA's portfolio. This request is for tax-exempt bond proceeds for a construction-only first mortgage of up to $3.8 million with a maximum term of 30 months at an interest rate up to 4%, as well as assignment, assumption, and restructure of the current loan in the approximate amount of $814,500 at an interest-only rate of 3% for up to 30 months, converting to a fully amortizing loan at 3% for 30 years. The borrower is Mutual Housing of Southwestern Connecticut. They do business as Connecticut Housing Partners, and I'm going to refer to them as CHP. CHP also serves as the management company. This property consists of two historic former school buildings converted to housing in 1996. It contains 32 affordable apartments for families. The application was originally received in December of 2013 as part of the CHAMP 4 round of DOH funding. It was approved by the CHFA board in March of 2014, but due to turnover of development team members, there were delays and they were not able to achieve a closing before the commitment expired. The CHFA board did approve it again in September of 2015. Progress was being made to a closing until the transaction was put on hold in June of 2016. This was following complaints made to the CHFA board by residents of another CHP property, Parkside Gables in Stamford. This property operates under the mutual housing model, which means that residents become a member of a corporation and they're supposed to participate in the management of that corporation, which manages the property. These residents felt that they did not have adequate input into the property. So as CHP worked to resolve these issues, CHFA asked them to obtain a development partner to help get the Maplewood transaction done. CHP approached many partners and was not able to come to an agreement with one. But in the meantime, the issues at Parkside Gables were resolved by the creation of a resident council, and focus returned to moving this Maplewood transaction forward. This property suffers from deferred maintenance. It experiences flooding and heavy rain events, and as a result, 8 units have been offline due to flooding since 2011. An additional 8 units are currently offline awaiting refurbishment. Having so many units offline has led to operating deficits for the past several years. All units in the property are affordable to households earning up to 60% of the area median income. 8 units will receive Section 8 rental subsidies, and at least 4 units will receive rental subsidies through the Father Panic Settlement Agreement. Father Panic Village was a public housing development in Bridgeport that was demolished in the late 1980s, and a class action lawsuit required a one-for-one replacement of all 1,063 units. HUD does provide funding for rental subsidies for these replacement units. Currently, there are 8 units that receive these subsidies. However, the Housing Authority is contemplating moving 4 of those to a new development. If those subsidies are lost, those 4 units would become tax credit units, and there would be no adverse effect on cash flow. Sources of the construction funding include low-income housing tax credit equity, state and federal historic tax credit equity, previously awarded HTCC funds, deferred developer fee. DOH is providing funds from the National Housing Trust Fund, as well as the CHAMP 4 award that was approved by the Bond Commission in 2016. The development was granted several moratoria on payment from CHFA between July of 2011 and July of 2016. So the new CHFA first mortgage does include $114,500 of deferred interest from that time period. They have been making payments as agreed since 2016. There are challenges to this transaction, but there are many mitigating factors. Upon completion of the development, CHFA's collateral will be in a much better condition than it is now. The quality of life will be improved for the residents, and putting all the units back online will position the property for positive cash flow going forward. CHFA's asset management staff does hold quarterly calls with CHP management, property management staff, and they will continue to monitor their performance. Since this loan is already in CHFA's portfolio, the main risk is in payoff of the construction loan. Approximately 40% of the funds needed to pay off the construction loan will be coming from historic tax credit equity. CHFA's technical services staff does work closely with staff from the State Historic Preservation Office to ensure that SHPO's requirements are in scope of work and that everything meets SHPO's guidelines. The other sources to pay off the construction loan are the low-income housing tax credit equity and the DOH funds. The tax credit syndicator, Redstone, has been committed to the transaction since the beginning. They are very anxious to move this forward. Their proposed developer fee payment schedule provides incentive for the developer to complete this development in a satisfactory and timely manner. Along with CHFA's typical closing conditions, we are adding some additional conditions that will be required prior to closing, and these are CHFA review and approval of the plan for tenant relocation during construction since it is an occupied property. Will require release or subordination of all current subordinate debt to either the City of Bridgeport or the Bridgeport Housing Authority. CHFA will need to accept an action plan with respect to the operation of Maplewood. CHFA will reserve the right to require an annual management review to assess the performance of the management agent, and will also reserve the right to replace the management company if necessary. And CHFA will require its review and consent prior to final payment of the last installment of the developer fee following cost certification, at least 3 months of break-even debt service coverage, and receipt of all equity required to pay the construction loan in full. Despite concerns with CHP's capacity as an owner and a manager, it is important to move forward with this rehabilitation for the sake of the current residents, to add the uninhabitable units back into the inventory of affordable housing, and to position this CHFA asset for positive cash flow. Are there any questions?
So this is Ann, and I won't be calling on members like I typically do, so just ask whatever questions you have of Debbie, any members of the committee.
Well, I guess I can start, Heidi. It sounds like it's a project that we want to do that's been taking a very long time, the fits and starts. It seems like there's still going to be challenges ahead, and is this our only option in being able to renovate and revert this to housing stock? I mean, is there any way to wrest control away from the current group and put it into the hands of someone who are more capable and who has been more successful?
Well, we did ask them to find a development partner. They were not able to come to an agreement with anybody. My understanding from asset management staff is that their performance as a manager has been improving. They're taking baby steps, but they have been improving. And at this point, we feel it's just better to get this moving and get the rehabilitation on track, and we will monitor their performance.
This is just to give you an update. The state allocated a grant, $50,000, and has been working with the organization and with the residents. And the organization is performing a lot better now. Is a particular development where they were utilizing the mutual housing model. That was a problem. However, we do have a consultant working with them. We are providing technical assistance.
So is it still a mutual housing model?
The building that it was mentioned before, yes. This building is not. It's a tax credit project.
This one is not. Okay, so that makes it right. Okay, thank you.
Are there other questions, comments, concerns? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the mortgage financing for Maplewood Court in Bridgeport.
This is Carla, so moved.
Moved by Carla. Any second?
Second by Beth.
I don't know.
This is Lisa. I'll second.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. If not, I think someone's going to call the roll. Is that what we decided?
Yes, I can do that. Wendy Clark,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinter,
Approved.
Ann Foley,
Yes.
Riley Goslin,
Yes.
Ella,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper-Bates,
Yes.
Carla Weil,
Yes.
Great. So mortgage financing is approved, and we will move on to the second action item, which is Rocky Neck Village in East Lyme. And I don't think that's Deb, but I can't see who is going to talk to us about it.
Gooden?
Okay, Carol, go ahead.
She's Carol? Are you in mute, Carol?
Hi, good morning. I forgot to turn my mute button off. The proposed Rocky Neck Village development. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
For sure. Okay, great. The proposed Rocky Neck Village development will increase the supply of affordable housing and expand housing choice in southeastern Connecticut. Staff is seeking authorization to approve mortgage financing in an amount up to $13.7 million, structured as two notes, including a construction loan in an amount of approximately $11.5 million, with a term of 24 months and a rate of 3.75%. The second loan would be a construction to permanent loan in an amount of approximately $2.2 million, with an interest rate of 2.75%, with a maximum permanent term of 35 years and a construction term of 24 months. Rocky Neck Village involves the new construction of 56 three-bedroom apartments in 9 buildings located on an undeveloped parcel in East Lyme, Connecticut. A 10th building will include the office space for the property manager as well as the service coordinator. There are 50 affordable apartments. 13 apartments are targeted for families at 25% AMI. 23 apartments are targeted for families at or below 50% AMI, and 14 apartments are targeted for families at or below 80% AMI. Subsequent to the LIHTC reservation, the DOH financing for this transaction was reduced by $800,000. The CHFA construction permit loan would close that gap as well as pay for an additional increase in hard costs of approximately $683,000, as well as other costs related to the CHFA financing, including an operating reserve for $388,000. The development was successful in the LIHTC work around it because it achieved several housing priorities in the QAP. It's located in East Lyme, a town where less than 10% of the housing is assisted. It is also located in an area of opportunity with above average performing schools, below average poverty rate, and above average job to racial population. The development will promote economic integration with a unit mix that will include 6 market rate apartments. 12 apartments are certified for homeless families, and the economic model developed by DECD projects that the development will generate approximately $28 million of new economic activity and approximately 70 jobs. The development is also located in a transit-oriented development, as it is mixed income, and it's located a half a mile from the local bus stop. Finally, the development is designed to passive housing standards to achieve energy measures to generate utility cost savings. The proposal faces the following challenges. First, the LIHTC reservation for Rocky Neck Village included a condition that the developers submit a cost search for Cherry Apartments, which he developed with 2016 LIHTC credit. Cherry Apartments is fully occupied, but there are cost overruns related to unforeseen environmental conditions. These cost overruns are being paid for with developer fee, as well as a short-term loan from the LIHTC syndicator. It is the practice in the LIHTC
industry for such cost overruns to be funded with either a cash flow loan from the syndicator or be funded with loss reserve from the LIHTC funds. CHFA does expect to receive the cost cert within the next 30 days, and an acceptable cost cert will be a condition for initial closing. The risk of cost overruns for Rocky Neck Village is low because it is an undeveloped site, and the Phase 1 did not identify any areas of concerns or hazardous material as compared to Cherry Apartments, which involved the renovation of an industrial building. Another potential challenge to the development is that the units that are targeted at 50% of the AMI may face some competition in the marketplace. The primary market area includes the town of Norwich and New London, and the market study is estimating that the lease-up period could exceed 6 months. The slower lease-up for these units is mitigated by the fact that these new townhouse-style apartments will include 2.5 baths. They're larger than the other units that are found in the marketplace. They also have an attached garage as well as a dishwasher. They're also approximately 1,600 square feet and are thus larger than the older and smaller competitor units in the marketplace. Additionally, there is a 18 months of debt service included in the budget to allow the development to achieve lease-up. Finally, there is a moderate risk of CHFA construction loan repayment as the source of repayment is LIHTC equity. The conditions of release for the LIHTC equity are very standard for the industry, and they include a CO, 90% occupancy, and a final cost cert. All these conditions are standard conditions, and staff believe they are achievable. Staff recommends this transaction because it supports CHFA's policy goal to create affordable housing in high opportunity communities that will offer new meaningful housing choices for low-income residents. Any questions?
This is Kylie. I have a question, well, 2 questions actually. On the market study, the market conditions analysis, I'm a little perplexed by the concern about lease-up for 50% AMI and under tenants, knowing that there's plenty of tenants out there in the state that fit that bill. Well, do you have any more information on that, or was the market analysis just looking at a sort of a tighter ring in terms of geography and wasn't taking into account, other areas, nearby towns where folks might meet that criteria that would be moving? Is that the issue, or is there something else?
Yeah, so the market report, identified the market areas to include several surrounding towns, including Norwich and New London, and in those towns, they do have a supply of affordable housing. Again, these units are older and smaller than the proposed development, and so, again, we feel that they will be competitive in the marketplace.
Just to follow up on that, this is Lisa speaking. I think there's a missed opportunity, though, in the market study in that the East Lyme school system is qualitatively different than the New London and Norwich opportunities for education. So that's a real advantage that this development has. So, to Kylie's point, I don't quite understand why that's not factored in here. I think there's going to be really significant demand for these units, including potentially from families trying to move to this area, consistent with the high degree of opportunity. So I just flagged that as something I think we want to think about in those market studies in the future.
Yeah, I agree with Lisa. I would just flag that as something we want to look we may want to look at our market studies and think about the way they're being conducted in some of these higher opportunity areas. There may be, I know sometimes there's limited control you have over how a market analysis is done. You're using an outside or they're using an outside contractor, but we may need to think differently about either the way we analyze those results or the way those are being conducted in these higher opportunity areas to the extent we're trying to do more projects there. The other quick question I just had, if you don't mind, is on the component earlier in the memo that talks about the GOA production. Maybe Bela can shed some light on this. I was just curious as to, it looks like this particular funding round was cut sort of across the board or was reduced across the board. And I was wondering, so that I assume there are other projects that were affected by that, but I was just wondering why that was. Was it just a budget shortfall issue? Were there other reasons behind that? I'm glad to see CHFA was able to step up and help match that in this case. I'm worried about other projects that might be also in that bucket.
So what was your question? Why the reduction on subsidy?
Right, from the DOH side, yeah.
Yeah, because we got a funding reduction.
Okay. Was there other particular rounds, or was it just that particular round that was reduced?
That particular round was reduced. That was what it was available for the tax credit.
Okay. Thanks. Just curious. That's it for me.
Hi, this is Heidi. Can you just speak to the development team? Do we have experience? Are they experienced?
So the development team involves Harold Foley and a Maynard Corporation, Rob Capiletti. Harold Foley completed 3 other LIHTC developments. This will be his third development with CHFA. Maynard Corporation, their primary experience is as a property manager, and they currently manage other CHFA properties. The contractor is La Rosa, and they also have extensive experience with CHFA financing properties.
So, but experience as ground-up construction.
I'm not sure exactly how many and what type of construction they've done, but I know that it's a significant amount of projects that they've completed.
Okay, I'd like to see just maybe a list of projects completed so that we know we're not starting with somebody who's never done it before. Just makes it easier and keep more confidence in their ability.
Sure.
Thank you. Are there other questions on Rocky Neck Village for Carol? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to approve the mortgage financing for Rocky Neck Village in East Lyme.
This is Kylie, so moved.
Moved by Kylie. Any second?
This is second, Carla, and I'm looking at their website. They have quite a large portfolio of projects.
I'll look at that too. Thanks. Someone's going to call the roll. Oh, sorry.
Wendy Clark?
Yes.
Heidi Wingert?
Approved.
Ollie?
Yes.
Ellie Gosselin?
Yes.
Ella Mascara Bruno?
Yes.
Pepper Bates?
Yes.
Carla Well?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. So next on our agenda is Winwood Apartment. And I can't see who's going to, Joe. Is Joe going to tell us about it?
I am. Thank you and good morning.
Terrific. Okay.
The action before you for Winwood Apartments is to modify the long-term and amend the board's prior authorization for the construction permanent loan that was approved in November. To provide a little bit of background for any new members or to refresh recollections, This was a 2017 application that struggled to fill a project gap that was caused by a reduction in equity from the tax reform bill, and they tried various opportunities to reduce costs, value engineer. They weren't able to do so, and at the end of 2018, they reduced the scope of the project by eliminating a building from the project. This caused some unintended consequences in terms of the credits per unit being in excess of $30,000 per unit. And again, we worked with the development team to try to mitigate some of those construction and financing issues. We were able to reduce the credits late last year to the $30,000 per unit level, and in doing so, we assisted the project with FAF financing to offset the resulting gap in financing. They finished reducing the gap by increasing the amount of financing they could obtain from their permanent lender. So we proceeded with the FAF commitment last November and executed a return exchange of credit at that time as well. After our approval in November, the development team reviewed our FAF loan terms with their syndicator and requested that we extend the FAF term from 30 years to 40 on the permanent side. So we would be modifying the previous authorization to have a 2-year construction period and a 40-year permanent term, so that combined there would be a 42-year term on the construction permanent loan. Are there any questions?
Questions for Joe? Okay. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the modification of the mortgage for Windward Apartment.
So moved. This is Lisa.
Any second?
Second by Wendy.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, we can call the roll.
Wendy Clark?
Yes.
Debbie Dewender?
Yes.
Ann Foley?
Yes?
Kelly Gaslin?
Yes.
Alma Scarabino? Kayla? Yes. Lisa Tucker Bates?
Yes?
Carla Weil?
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries, and the modification of mortgage for Windward Apartments is approved. So we will go on to the approving the minutes for January. Is that the last time we met? Wow. Okay. So I would entertain a motion to approve the January minutes of the Mortgage Committee.
So moved. It's Heidi.
Highly second.
Any discussion? I guess we should call a roll on this one as well.
Wendy Clark?
Yes.
Debbie Dewender?
Yes.
Ann Foley?
Yes.
Kelly Gaslin?
Yes.
Alma Scarabino?
Yes.
Lisa Tucker Bates?
Yes.
Carla Weil?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so the minutes are approved, and we'll go on to report on upcoming multifamily activities. And Wendy is going to give us
that report.
Good morning. This is Wendy Moores. I'm a director in the Multifamily Department, for if those are the new members that may not know me. So after last month's approval of the 9% tax credit awards, 7 applicants were notified of their success. Reservation letters were sent out and kickoff meetings were held. Debrief meetings were also held with the development teams that were not awarded. There are currently 34 HTCC applications under review. Announcement of those awards is typically made in the summer, possibly at next month's board meeting. For 2020, we've enhanced the compliance reporting requirements for the HTCC program. One example of the changes is now, along with the quarterly report, the applicants will have to include progress photos and also an accounting summary of funds spent during the prior quarter. 17 FSHP properties are currently undergoing rehabilitation as part of the critical needs program. The 17 properties that include 682 units, the cost exceeds $4.3 million. This month, we've attached a construction status report that shows all of the CHFA finance developments that are currently under construction and what % complete they are. Next month, we'll provide a similar report on the FSHP portfolio that's currently undergoing rehabilitation. One property that we wanted to highlight on the properties under construction this month is Cherry Street Loft in Bridgeport. And you may recall back in November, the board approved a modification and extension for Cherry Street because due to unforeseen conditions and cost overruns, the project was experiencing some distress. The purpose of the extension was to allow the borrower time to secure additional funding and with an end goal of paying CHFA off and refinancing with another lender. So to give you an update on where the Cherry Street development stands at this time, the property consists of 2 buildings, 157 units. The smaller building is 29 townhouse units, and those are fully occupied at this time. The 6-story high-rise building has 128 units in it. The first 3 floors of that building are complete and partially leased. The 4th floor has a temporary CO, temporary certificate of occupancy. Substantial completion has been accomplished for the 5th floor. However, they are unable to get a TCO at this time until the city's building department reopens. The 6th floor should be complete by the end of May. Leasing activity remains strong, so they anticipate that the remaining building will be sold up by the end of May. Landscaping is also scheduled to start the week of May 4th and be completed shortly thereafter. As far as operations, prior to COVID-19, the property was experiencing basically no delinquency. At this point, there were 6 tenants in April that were behind in their rent, but it was expected that they would become current by the end of April. The development team continues to work on obtaining additional financing for their increased costs, so that seems to be on track at this point. Back to the multifamily activities. At the beginning of April, the Partnership for Strong Communities convened a listening session for developers that had properties either under construction or in the pipeline. And the commissioner and our CEO both provided information and answered questions related to the COVID-19 issues. Also, during April, CHFA and DOH staff met 2 times with the Narrow Board to talk about the issues that they were experiencing as housing authorities during the pandemic. CHFA and DOH staff also attended a webinar put on by the Connecticut Green Bank to learn more about their programs so that we can talk with developers about what they have to offer as well. CHFA staff continues to monitor information provided by the IRS, HUD, other industry partners, and related to the COVID-19, and we update our website or send out an e-blast as needed. We have established a separate page on the CHFA website just for COVID-19 guidance and resources. One other thing to note, DOH, in collaboration with CHFA, announced a development engagement process earlier this year. This is a process where developers were asked if they were expected to apply for either DOH and or CHFA funding in the calendar year, that they were invited to submit a 2-page form with information about their project. And we understand that over 100 submissions have been received, and CHFA and DOH staff have a meeting scheduled in very shortly to talk about that process and how that will work. Are there any questions?
Questions for Wendy? If not, thank you so much, Wendy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. So I don't think we have anything else on our agenda. Do we have to get out of here and go into something else for the board meeting? Is that how this works? Yes. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to try to get into the board meeting early, and maybe someone can help me with the webcam, if that's possible. But I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting of the mortgage committee.
I'll move, Kathy.
Second, Carla.
Okay. I don't think we can do. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Great. We're adjourned, and I'll see you at the board meeting. Hopefully. See you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.